Hey guys, what's up? It is Martika from Martika Braid Bar. So I've been getting this question asked frequently. How do I take down my braids? Now, guys, hold on. I understand this seems like such a basic step to know, but let's be honest, there are people who are getting into braids for the first time and they have these type of questions, and so no question is a silly question. So what I am doing is I was using the tail of my comb to separate the ends, but now what I'm doing is using the comb itself, and I am combing through the hair, and I am removing any tangles, any knots, and just unraveling the braid this way. But I'm gonna go back to using the tail of the comb, and I'm just centering the tail at the center of the braid, and I'm pressing it through and dividing the three strands to unravel themselves. And I'm just taking my time, and then in intervals I will comb through the hair and then go back to using the tail of the comb to separate the braids themselves. So I'm just gonna allow you guys to kind of look at what I'm doing. Now I'm going underneath the braid, and I'm going as close to the loosened braid, and I am putting my comb through the back, and then I'm pulling down on the cornrow itself. Because it is braided to the scalp, I'm able to kind of put the pin of the comb through and take down the braids this way as well. Now what I'm doing is I am shampooing away all the buildup from the braids, and I want to make sure that I'm cleansing the scalp thoroughly, and I'm lathering the shampoo throughout the hair so that we can cleanse the entire hair from root to tips. And I am massaging and wanting to make sure that I'm exfoliating the scalp and removing any buildup or anything that has accumulated over the time while the braids were in. I just want to make sure everything is thoroughly cleansed. Now I'm rinsing out the shampoo, and I am making sure that when I shampoo and rinse, I'm rinsing and drenching the hair entirely and making sure I remove all that excess shampoo, because if you leave shampoo in your hair and you don't wash it properly, sometimes your scalp gets itchy. And if you find that your scalp is itchy, maybe you want to consider going over your shampoos to make sure you're removing the extra shampoo. Now her hair is blow dried. I am taking my comb. I'm just showing you, demonstrating the tail of the comb and the tip of the comb where I do my partings. And I usually like to do my initial parting with the tail of the comb as a guide to section out where I want to braid. And what I wanted to bring up is that when you are sectioning your hair for braids, like straight backs for example, the back of the hair, the nape area, is usually a lot not as wide as the hairline, the parameter of the hair. So you'll notice in the hairline, the hairline might be a little wider, whereas the back of your hair will be a lot smaller. So that nape area will be not as wide as the hairline in the front. So when you are sectioning off straight back hair braids, you want to make sure that you would section off. Okay, so the front of the hairline will be a lot wider than the back. Once you get to the back, you want to make it very narrow and very thin, because you want to make sure that you can fit all your braids and braid all the braids all the way to the bottom of the nape, and there's enough room. If not, you will have braids that are going to stop or finish halfway through or in the center of your scalp because you didn't have any room in the back. So I applied some of my braiding gel over the line that I created, and then I'm going over to clean up my parts with the gel applied already on the scalp. And in this section, you're going to see me go over the back, and I'm going to give you a better idea of what I'm trying to say. So basically now I'm making it very thin at the bottom. So it's not going to be as wide. The parting is not going to be as wide, because what ends up happening, again, as I said, is that when I'm starting to braid, let's say I have 8 braids going straight back. In the front, you're going to see 8 sections, but in the back it's gonna take up too much room if I don't part it thin, and therefore some of the braids are not gonna finish evenly at the back. Now I'm showing you how to start your cornrows. So basically I sectioned out the front, and I'm gonna separate them into 3 sections. So here you have it, your 3 sections, and I'm taking each section, I'm going to hold with my index finger, and I'm going to hold it with my thumb. And I'm showing you how they're going to cross over. So basically the center hair strand is going to go to the left, and then the other one is going to go, the left is going to go into the center. So they're going to trade off. So we're bringing the center over to the left, and then we're taking the left strand and we're bringing it to the center. So we're trading off the positions. So I'm going to go over this again. So again, I'm holding the strands with my index and my thumb, and I also use the middle finger to help me gather and hold and control the strands. But basically, as I'm showing you, I'm moving the left over into the center, and I'm bringing the center over to the left, and that's how we start. So the idea is we're always going to be bringing the left and right sides to the center and rotating. So we are going to be holding the strands with control using our thumb and our index finger. And I'm showing you how I gather hair into the braid. So because we want to do a braid that's going to be to the scalp, which is considered a cornrow, I don't usually do it in this method, but I'm going to show you with the comb. I am going to section off little pieces of hair behind the braid, and I am going to add it to the strand in the center, and then I am going to braid around and pull it in and weave it into the braid. And I'm showing you how I use my thumb and index to control and hold the strands as I am creating the braid. So again, this will take practice. You will not get the perfect braid, and it might take maybe watching this video over a couple of times until you can get the hang of it. But essentially I'm taking the tail of the comb, I am just carving out a piece of the hair behind the braid. I'm bringing it into the braid by dragging it to the center, and then I am continuing my normal braid pattern. And again, on the other side, I am weaving in hair into the braid. I'm always using my index and my thumb to pick up and to control, and then I use my middle finger to help me with my index finger control or hold the braid in place, or hold the hair strand in place. Essentially, you want to keep your braids nice and taut and firm, and this is why the thumb and the index gives you great control. But you also want to make sure that the braids are firm and secure and tightly braided. When I say tight, I just mean firm, because you want to make sure that they hold very well, and it also looks cleaner and polished. But you're not going to get that clean look right away. The whole point, especially when you're practicing, is to get the technique down pat, and then the muscle memory of how to hold and control the strands, and just the technique of and placement of where to place the strands to create the pattern of the braid. Once you get that down, then you just continue and practice, and over time you will develop the consistency and neatness of a firm, clean, tight, secure braid.